Hello my dear Leos, and welcome to your weekly card pull. Today I'm going to be doing a reading for the week of February 18th through February 24th, 2024. This reading is channeled for all of my Leos. If you are a Leo sun, moon, rising, and or north node, this one is for you. So I am doing a pull from my Crystal Spirits Oracle deck today. This week, that was upside down, nice, cute. There you go. This week I do not feel super called to do tarot. I'm feeling more pulled in the direction of Oracle. So we're gonna go for gentler, lighter messages. The question that I would like to ask for you guys, and if you've never tuned in with a reading with me before, welcome. I always open with this. The question that I want to ask, the guidance for you guys for this upcoming week, is what kinds of themes can you maybe expect to be looking at, and what perspectives, guidance, narratives, etc. might be useful for you to consider in navigating this. So especially if you're feeling some challenges, some tension coming up, how can you work with that? I am, just as a quick aside, am going to be doing a reading this week for Capricorns, Pisces, and Leo. So if you have those other two placements anywhere in your chart, feel free to check those out as well. Something else to keep in mind before I get into the actual poll that might be helpful for you guys to consider is what's going on astrologically. So right now we are this week moving from we're starting the transition from Aquarius season into Pisces season. Now, for those of you that are not astrologically inclined, or you're like, the fuck does that mean, girl? Just pay attention to the message that I'm saying. You don't have to pay attention to the specifics of it. But Aquarius is all about, it's an air sign, so it's all about things that happen in the mind, the area of rationality, the area of thought. A lot of what we may find in Aquarius season, a lot of what you may have been experiencing over the last few weeks, maybe some shadow side, detachment, a bit of a dissociative quality. The bright side of Aquarius is that it's very good at taking a step away from one's personal experience to assess the needs of the collective. Interestingly enough, Aquarius and Leo are exact opposites on the zodiac wheel. So Leo is all about the expression of the self, and Aquarius is all about the collective. So that is the season we're coming out of right now, if that resonates. We're moving into the season of Pisces. Pisces is a water sign. It's all about emotions, all about emotionality. You may experience some very deep emotions. You may feel like you have more of a proclivity to crying in the next couple of months, good or bad, or anything in between. You may find that you've been very cerebral lately, like you've had a lot going on, a lot of clutter in the mind, a lot of thought, because Aquarius season does bring things up to this area. And in this upcoming week, we're starting to move it down. We're moving it down into the heart space, into the emotions, into the depths of your feelings. So it's going to be a little bit less heady, and it's going to feel a little bit more organic to your feelings and your emotions. And Pisces is very closely tied to intuition and dreams, so you may find that those themes are going to be a little bit more prevalent for you as well. So just something to keep in mind. Now, moving into the reading, my dears, a couple of things that are coming up. First thing, honestly, body love, respecting your body, respecting your body's wants, its needs. This can look a bunch of different ways. I did pull for you Orange Calcite in the reverse. This card is very closely tied to sensuality, if you will, your experience of the senses. Anytime a card is pulled in reverse, which is upside down in the reverse, or I'm sorry, in the upright, she looks like this. Anytime a card is pulled in reverse, it does acknowledge themes that we may have some shadow work to do. Maybe some themes of things that are a little bit more challenging for us, things we may have resistance to. So if this feels like something that you're like, oh yeah, this has been a challenge for me, or oh, I'm not really sure how to work with this, that's okay, my dear Leos. This theme is here for a reason. Also, something else to keep in mind with Orange Calcite, and really any orange stone, this is very sacral chakra, which is all about creativity. So if you think about sexuality, sensuality, like those are in a lot of ways related to our creativity and our creative energy. So that may be something that you're also going to be looking at in this upcoming week. Main themes of Orange Calcite: creativity, the pleasure of birthing something new, sensuality, and sexuality. So this can be, again, literally interpreted as a sensual thing, but this can also be about creativity as a whole, birthing something new, bringing something new into the world, whether this is through art or artistry. I'm getting like passion project for some of you. Maybe there's a passion project that you have, because this was in reverse, been avoiding or denying yourself, or like not really putting your energy into, that is asking for you to kind of bring it to life. That may be a theme that feels relevant for you. There may also be some areas in your life where you're in a transitionary period and it's time to close one chapter and open up a new one. Pisces season is the end of the astrological year. So we are moving into the last month of the astrological year. Once we hit Aries season, we're starting a new cycle. So we are closing out some old things, and I do feel like that's part of why Pisces can be very emotional, because it's a water sign, so it is the emotional component, and it is, for those of you who pay attention to astrology or know what I'm talking about. If you don't, feel free to ignore this next word. But it is one of the mutable signs, so it is at the end of the cycle, and at the end of the cycle you're able to look back and see everything, see the big picture. So it's really, Pisces is honestly taking in the totality of your emotional experience, so there's a lot of that. And so in this time you may find that there are some things in your life that are falling away, things in your life that just don't really feel like they are right to be carried forward, or there are aspects of that thing that are meant to be carried forward, but not the form itself or the thing itself into this next chapter. And so you're being offered an opportunity to take whatever energy you can, or whatever energy you're cleaving to from that, and utilize that to produce something new and to produce something that serves others. This could also be in the form of like a lesson. I'm getting, again, creativity, that passion project. I feel like for some of you this is going to bring a lot of pleasure to do this, that there are some things that maybe you feel like a leadership role, or things that you want to teach, or things that you want to bring to the world around you. And those things are going to be channeled through you in whatever way, shape, or form that they are, and then brought into the world. What am I saying? How am I trying to say this? What I'm trying to say is, I feel like for you, my dear Leos, there is something, or are some things in your life that you're ready to transmute. And again, end of an era, beginning of a new one. The cycle of life and the way that life kind of operates is that when something dies, it becomes fertilizer for something new to be born. So really taking those lessons and learning how to apply that in a creative way, especially. A couple of the things that are coming up for me with this card: be playful as you exercise your imagination, will help you recognize what you want to co-create and how you might take action towards fulfilling your deepest desires. So your creativity is going to help you to get in better alignment with what you actually want moving forward, especially if that's been a more challenging theme for you lately. And it's funny, drawing, painting, singing, dancing. Use any art form that puts you in touch with your inner artist. It will help you remember how powerful a co-creator you are. I'm getting close out on that card. Okay, so main message there: tap into your creativity. That's going to be a very, very useful thing. I feel like for some of you, this can take the form, okay, I'm going to get into these other cards in a minute, but there may be some things that are coming up for you that you feel like you also need. Like, let's say friendship, for example. If you're like, this is a need, like, I feel like I need more time with my friends or more time with my girlfriends, go do an art wine night or something like that. You know, something that gets you in touch with that creativity and also allows you to share that experience with other people if that's something that you're needing. So whatever it is that you like, if you have other obligations or something, try to weave some level of creativity and creative expression into that however you can. Okay, next card. Let's go to Bronzite first, and then I'm going to go into Diamond. So the next card that I pulled for you guys, I pulled the card of Bronzite. I love the colors on this one, honestly. And the main message with this card is loyalty. Loyalty to your word, loyalty to yourself. Trust, steadfastness, self-respect, trusting that the universe has your back. If trust has been a theme that's been challenging for you lately, this is going to be something that's going to be really important for you to lean into. Now, a couple of things to, I don't want to say caution with that, but this card also comes with a message to be judicious in extending your trust. No, it is a gift. Trust is a gift that, you know, deserves to be honored. So first things first, respect others by being trustworthy yourself. Speak of them in ways that are honorable. Show up as the person that you want to be. If you're not showing up as the person that you want to be, my dear, the situations that you're in may not be the most positive reflection of you. So that is something to keep in mind. Also with this, heal the past by owning your role in it so that you can create a level of trust in yourself again, especially if you have walked a path that hasn't been super ideal. So make sure that you're giving yourself the opportunity to heal from broken trust, whether that broken trust is coming from yourself or from someone else. Even if you have been betrayed in the past, especially in relationships, but this could also be business relationships, etc., you can heal the sting by extending trust again, as challenging as that may be, because Bronzite Spirit reminds you that this time you are wiser, you are stronger, you are more mindful of signs and signals that you may need to step back, that you may need to nurture yourself. Like all of these things in the past that you feel like, oh, this broke my trust, these were all learning lessons for you. And now that you have honed your craft, your intuition, your intelligence a little bit better, you have a better opportunity of learning how to actually work with that in the future. So even if you're like, oh, well, I dated this person and they did me dirty or whatever, and I can't trust them ever again, and I can't ever trust myself again because I gave them my trust and they broke it, how dare they? Which is fair. But if that is your experience, then you're also depriving yourself of the ability to trust yourself, instead of saying, okay, there were some areas in this where maybe there were signs and signals, or there were things that I picked up on that maybe I denied or whatever, and now I have the opportunity to grow in the trust of myself and the trust of my own path, whatever that path may be, even if it's hard for other people. Like if I have a path that's coming up for me, I can lean into that. So yeah, loyalty and steadfastness will be rewarded, perhaps in ways that you do not expect. So be true to yourself, and know that loving, respectful relationships with yourself, keyword with yourself, is what will lay the groundwork for loving, respectful relationships with others. If you don't have a good relationship with yourself, it's going to bleed out into every single area of your life. So whatever you have to do to create that level of trust within yourself, that should be your priority. That's top priority, number one. If you don't have that, you don't have anything. Sorry. That sounded really harsh, but that is kind of what's coming up. Next thing, this may be a related theme. I keep being swayed away from this card. I guess we'll go back to it. Okay, Raw Morganite. This card also came up for my Capricorns for this week. Also came up for Scorpio for the entire year. If you didn't already check it out, I do have an entire year reading for 2024. So feel free to go tap into that if you want a little bit more guidance or anything, or especially if you feel blockages like throughout this year, just save the video, go back to it whenever you need to. Raw Morganite, however, all about gentleness, all about gentle assertiveness, being willing to assert yourself, but in a way that is not forceful. For some of you, you may find that you're trying to exert a certain level of power to, I almost want to say, like compensate something. And if that resonates, and if that's the case, the way forward right now, what you're being encouraged to tap into is a level of spirited, like have some kind of spirited action, but not from a place of forcing it. Like you want things to be authentic to you. You want things to feel genuine for you, and you don't want to feel like you forced your way into a certain situation, or you manipulated a situation so that it could happen a certain way so you could have a certain outcome. Those things are not going to bring you to your highest self at the end of the day. So have loving gentleness for the position that you're in, especially if that feels like a temptation for you, and acknowledge that there are areas in your life where maybe the path forward is through gentleness. This also means the way that you're looking at yourself. If you've been really hard on yourself, not feeling like yourself, feeling maybe dissociated from yourself, again, coming out of Aquarius season, that might be pretty, might be a little bit more prevalent than usual. If this is something that feels like it's been ruling your existence in some way, give yourself the space to walk away from the habits that keep you stuck in being harsh or forceful or abrasive with yourself. Again, your relationship to yourself will extend out into your relationships with everyone else around you. So if you find that you're being not the kindest to the world around you, you need to look at how you're relating to yourself and fix that problem first. All right, my dear, finally, okay, we can move into Diamond first, and then I have Kyanite. So I have two more cards for you. Next card is the card of Diamond. This card is all about beauty and strength arising from challenges. You have been through some shit, my dear. Whether this is something that has been very recent or something that you've been through in your life, there are things that you have experienced that have been challenging. This is the case for everyone. Everyone has their own challenges. Everyone has their own battles, whether or not they choose to share it. So whatever your battles were or are or have been or are going to be, they are ultimately going to bring you to a place of strength, even if you don't feel like it. Even if you feel like, I am being taxed by this, I have nothing left in this, I have nothing in my tank, I am overextended, I am done. Even if that's how you are feeling, my dear Leo, this card comes with a really beautiful message that's encouraging you to tap into the inner strength that comes from like rising above those challenges. Especially, I'm getting this bronzite card and I'm getting the word relationships. If you've had relationships in your past, I'm getting like deep past, but also not necessarily recent past, but like if you've had relationships in the last 15 years or so, I can say why I said that number in a minute, but if that's something that's been really prevalent for you, we're stepping into a new era. How do I phrase this? Right now, we are in a transitionary period. So Pluto has been in Capricorn for the last 15 years or so. And by the end of this year, Pluto will have transitioned into the sign of Aquarius for the next 15 to 20 years. So this transit marks a huge shift for us. It is going to be retrograding in and out of those two planets. So throughout the course of this year, we're going to do a little bit here, a little bit there. But by the end of this year, by November, Pluto will be in the sign of Aquarius. Now, what the fuck does this mean? So when we look at this from a collective perspective, because this does, the outer planets, because the transits take longer, they do tend to pertain more to the collective experience, but I do want to speak to this. Capricorn is a lot about achievements and authority, and there are a lot of really beautiful aspects of Capricorn. It has a very masculine, like a very strong masculine nature to it. I'm a Capricorn sun. I freaking love Capricorn, okay? Every single planet, though, has light and shadow. And because life happens in cycles and seasons, we are in a season right now where there's a shift that needs to happen within that. The way that this looks on a macro scale is especially like who is in power, really. And lately it has been Capricorn. So for the last 15 years, we have been ruled by this need for success, this need for achievements and growing and this, and it's very like authoritative, and that's not necessarily entirely a bad thing. There are benefits to that. It has led to a lot of productivity. However, that productivity has been at the expense of overall health for some people, and this again is like a macro concept, but it's something that may have and likely has also played out in your own personal life. So think about your last 15 years. What's been going on? What kinds of challenges have you been working through, especially when it comes to your work and your relationships and the way that you're relating to your life? Maybe you had a season of depression. Maybe you had a season where you're like, I'm working so hard and I'm putting so much energy into this thing I just don't care about. Maybe you had kids and that was something that you absolutely cared about and you loved, but you're moving into a season where maybe they're leaving the house and they're growing up and now you're like, oh, I have this empty space and what am I going to do with my time? And this can manifest in a bunch of different ways. But when we move into the Aquarius, when Pluto moves into Aquarius, power is moving from the position of authority. Power is moving from the project of progression into the hands of the collective. Aquarius, again, is all about the collective. So why am I talking about this? Why am I bringing this up? Because Diamond is all about beauty and strength arising from challenges. You may have experienced challenges from a social perspective, for example, and asking yourself, why have I been challenged with this? There have been a lot of movements in the last 10 years, especially, where honestly, like, people are just getting to a point where like, we're fed up. We need to change XYZ things. And so we're moving collectively into a season where there is a shift in power and how we perceive that power more towards the collective. The way that I envision this playing out for you, my dear Leos, because this reading is about you and not necessarily about the collective. I'm just trying to give an example. The way that this pertains to you and your life and your week, bringing it back into the 1 week thing instead of the 15 to 20 year thing, is this is overall a lesson of showing us how something that's been really challenging has also brought lessons. It's brought us things that we have learned, things that we can apply, things that we can shift. When it comes to bronzite, like the same thing is, you build trust. I don't want to say you build trust by breaking trust because it's not necessarily true, but you build trust in yourself by learning from things. You don't build trust by never making a mistake. You build trust by making a mistake and learning how to work with that, learning how to live with that, learning how to make changes because of that. That's ultimately like how we grow. You're not going to grow if you never make a mistake. Like it sucks that I feel like a lot of schooling, going back to this large 15-year theme, I feel like a lot of schooling has taught us like you have to be right or you're like not, you have to be right, like you have to get an A or like you didn't do it right. And so we feel like if we do something wrong, we get a bad grade, we're failing. But realistically, the failure, quote unquote, in life happens when we don't allow ourselves to learn. So I would ask you to look at your narrative with strength and your narrative with learning and your narrative with growth and ask, where does this narrative come from? Does this serve me? And how can I create beauty and strength out of these challenges? I feel like for some of you, there may have been also like just some challenges that have come up in the last week or that will come up this week. And if you don't know how to navigate them or deal with them, I feel like this card is really just encouraging you to have faith that it is there for you. It is not there to hurt you. Like everything in your life is there for you. It's your perspective that's going to allow you to think that. And again, this Ra Morganite is going to give you the gentleness. If you allow yourself to access that gentleness and that love within yourself, have loving compassion for everything in your life, including the things that you don't like. Amor fati, love everything. Everything is happening for you, even the things that you absolutely hate. That may give you a little bit of gentleness in moving forward. Finally, last card that I have. I pulled for you guys the card of Kyanite. Kyanite, this card is all about boundaries, healthy boundaries, discernment of what boundaries should be, diplomacy. This also has a level to do with resolving disputes. So these disputes can be internal. These can also be external. So with people around you, maybe there is some harmony that needs to be, you need to come back to a level of harmony, mending fences, building bridges, blending to basically like resolve disputes and fix any sour notes that have accumulated over the last few weeks, months, years, decades, depends on the problem that you're looking at. So really just like tuning into like what creates a sense of harmony for you and how can you establish that with other people. Harmony is not necessarily come to by saying, this is what I want, figure it out. Harmony is usually come to by saying, this is how I feel, this is what I want, how about you? How can we work together to make this a comfortable future for both of us? And this is an area that I feel like you're being offered a lot of opportunities to really expand in and grow in. I'm feeling called to close out. That was very quick. Kind of just wanted to pop in there and be like, hey, I got something real quick to say. So my dear Leos, thank you so much for tuning in. I love you so much. I appreciate you guys for being here. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can find me here, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere at alexab.alchemy. I am taking a break from Instagram at this time. So if you shoot me a message and it takes me a while to get back, please feel free to shoot me an email instead or follow up on the comments here or something of that sort. Thank you guys for tuning in. I love you and I will see you guys next week. Have a good one.